For the past 2 years, everyone was expected to treat Bronny and LeBron sharing the court as a once-in-a-lifetime father-son story, even though many believed it was simply a major favor from the Lakers front office to LeBron James. But once LeBron left Los Angeles, that layer of protection quickly disappeared. Now, several NBA legends are finally voicing what many fans have been saying all along. They believe Bronny James doesn't belong in the league. And when you hear what Shaq and Scottie Pippen recently revealed about the behind-the-scenes moves LeBron allegedly made to help secure his son's opportunities, you'll be stunned. However, before their comments, Charles Barkley had already been raising these concerns long before Bronny's rookie contract was signed. For nearly 2 years, his criticism was largely ignored while much of the media acted as if nothing was wrong. In November 2024, Barkley appeared on the Better Angle podcast and criticized the entire situation surrounding Bronny, stating plainly that the young guard simply was not ready to compete in the NBA.
Bronny's a prospect. Number one, I'm glad he's healthy. I think he should be in the G League. He's not ready to play in the NBA right now, and it's expected he will spend.
As expected, LeBron quickly took to social media to defend his son, pushing back against anyone who criticized Bronny's struggles on the court. His repeated responses eventually set the stage for one of the most unforgettable moments on Inside the NBA, where the issue was addressed live on national television.
I'll tell you what, we can't say nothing bad about Bronny. We don't want Bron rocking up on us on center.
But that was only the beginning. With LeBron no longer in the picture, Charles Barkley has become much more outspoken. On Inside the NBA, he shared his unfiltered opinion about Bronny James, saying, "Look, I've got a family too. I understand not wanting people to talk about your kids, but I also have eyes. That is not an NBA player. That is a G League player with a guaranteed contract and a famous dad. Now, the dad is gone. The guarantee is already locked in. I can say it now. Retire the kid." Looking at Bronny's numbers, Barkley was echoing what many basketball fans had already noticed. During his rookie season, Bronny shot 31.3% from the field and 28.1% from three-point range. In his second year, those figures improved to 40.9% overall and 38.6% from beyond the arc. Even so, he averaged fewer than 9 minutes per game and just 2.9 points a night. Those are modest production numbers, yet he continues to hold a multi-million-dollar contract and a spot on the roster. That brings us to Rob Parker, one of the first media personalities willing to challenge the narrative. On Fox Sports, he openly called the entire situation a sham and delivered a harsh reality check aimed at both Bronny and the Lakers.
Bronny James should retire. I would retire.
Wrong. That's the wrong Bron. Wrong Bron.
No. Bronny should retire.
No, the other one, the 20-year senior.
No.
The reality is that the safety net has disappeared, leaving the Lakers tied to a sizable contract for a player who has struggled to earn consistent minutes on the court. What once seemed manageable is now being viewed by many as a growing problem. And if you think Charles Barkley and Rob Parker are the only voices calling for Bronny James to step away, you probably also believe Ben Simmons is finally going to develop the jump shot people have been waiting on for years. The criticism continues to grow louder, and the next NBA legend adds even more fuel to the debate. Gilbert Arenas, who spent years privately training Bronny James, has a perspective few others can match. So when he discussed Bronny's future on his podcast and suggested it might be time to move on, it carried significant weight. For the Lakers, those comments were especially difficult to ignore. After all, Arenas had been one of Bronny's biggest supporters, consistently defending him and expressing confidence in his potential whenever the opportunity arose.
Well, you said it'd be about 3 years before Bronny's ready to actually play in the NBA legitimately?
Yeah, just reading, just most players, right? You give them about 3 years before you can really see, okay, they're ready or not.
Even he eventually had to stop pretending this experiment was actually working. After watching Bronny play a few games, he addressed it on his podcast and laid out exactly what he believed was holding Bronny back. His passive style of play is the main reason so many people started comparing him to Ben Simmons. Love him or hate him, Simmons was still a 3-time All-Star. Yet even he ended up getting benched because he became afraid to shoot and seemed to freeze whenever the ball was in his hands. Now picture Bronny James playing with that same hesitation but with only a fraction of Ben's talent. It is difficult to watch. In the roughly 9 minutes he plays each night, Bronny is still posting a -3 per 100 possessions for the Lakers, meaning he is not helping the team and is actually hurting them while he is on the floor. The breaking point came once again in April when the Lakers lost to the Dallas Mavericks. Emotions were already running high, and the frustration spilled over in an awkward moment on live television. Bronny attempted a high chest pass to LeBron during a fast break when a simple bounce pass was the obvious choice. A Dallas defender easily deflected the ball out of bounds, and LeBron immediately turned around and yelled at Bronny in front of everyone. Things became so uncomfortable that Gil refused to sugarcoat the situation on his podcast earlier this year. These were his exact words: "I know I said it would take 3 years. 3 years from 2024 is 2027, so he's got 1 year left. If the problem hasn't been fixed after 2 years of NBA basketball and G League reps, it's not getting fixed here. I think he should retire." When someone like Arenas tells you it is time to walk away from the league, that is a sign things have reached a breaking point. While Gil is focused on the basketball side of the issue, Larry Bird is looking at the human side of it. Instead of criticizing Bronny's numbers, Bird believes stepping away from basketball could actually be the kindest thing for him. In his view, the non-stop media attention is destroying any chance Bronny has of living a normal life. Every mistake he makes on the court instantly becomes a viral TikTok clip, picked apart by millions of critics who are waiting for him to fail. No player can truly improve, or even grow as a person, while living under that kind of microscope. That is why Larry Legend reportedly spoke so bluntly about the situation. According to NBA insiders and reporters, he said, "The kid still needs a lot of work, no doubt, but he cannot do all that learning in the league. I think he needs some time off." Those words carry weight because they come from a player who won 3 consecutive MVP awards during one of basketball's toughest eras. He understands what real pressure feels like. Larry's point is that calling this a development project makes little sense when every mistake becomes a national story. Walking away from the Lakers and retiring could give Bronny the chance to discover who he is outside of his father's shadow. But if you think Larry Bird is the only old-school champion frustrated by the special treatment, you would be wrong. The most interesting part of this entire situation is that we already have the perfect example of another legend's son who handled the journey the right way. It also makes LeBron and Bronny's situation look incredibly awkward. Take Scottie Pippen Jr., for example, because his journey is the perfect blueprint for how Bronny's career could have unfolded. It is remarkable because both players attended Sierra Canyon, both grew up with Hall of Fame fathers, and both began their professional careers in the G League. But once it was time to earn a spot in the NBA, their paths went in completely different directions. Scottie Pippen Jr. was not given any special treatment. Despite posting impressive numbers at Vanderbilt and earning first-team All-SEC honors twice, he went undrafted in 2022. He signed a 2-way deal with the Lakers, was eventually waived, and had to rebuild his career in Memphis. During the 2024 season, he averaged 12.9 points, 4.7 assists, and 1.7 steals across 21 games. His performance was so strong that the Grizzlies rewarded him with a multi-year standard NBA contract in October 2024 because they simply could not afford to let him leave. Fans across social media celebrated the move because everyone felt he had truly earned it. There were no complaints about nepotism because he proved himself on the court. Now compare that to how Scottie Pippen Sr. approached the entire process. He stayed in the background as a proud father, supporting his son instead of calling general managers on draft night. He did not have Rich Paul or Clutch Sports pressuring teams to avoid drafting his son, and he certainly did not push for a multi-million-dollar guaranteed contract before his son had played a single NBA game. He allowed his son to earn every opportunity. Meanwhile, Bronny received a 4-year, $7.9 million guaranteed contract after being selected with a 55th pick. Now LeBron has already moved on, while Scottie Jr. continues to play meaningful rotation minutes for Memphis. That is why Scottie Pippen Sr.'s comments during an ESPN interview resonated with so many people. "My son went undrafted and ended up better off than a guy with a 4-year guaranteed deal." Think about that for a second, because I have. I think about it every time someone asks me about nepotism in the NBA. Pippen was essentially criticizing the Lakers for treating part of their roster like a family project. And judging by how everything has unfolded, many people believe he has a point because in the end, basketball has a way of rewarding those who truly earn their place. When you skip the hard work, the entire league eventually exposes you. But when you earn everything the way Scottie Jr. did, respect comes naturally. If you thought Scottie Pippen was being brutally honest, Shaquille O'Neal took the conversation even further. He also refused to use his legendary status to create an easy path for his own sons. Shaq's sons, Sharif and Shakur, spent years trying to carve out NBA careers on their own. Sharif battled through the G League and even earned an opportunity with the Kings, while Shakur worked his way through the college ranks. Even though their father is a 4-time NBA champion and one of the most dominant players the game has ever seen, no one was making behind-the-scenes deals to get them drafted. That is why Bronny receiving a fully guaranteed multi-million-dollar contract as a second-round pick never sat well with him. While LeBron was still leading the Lakers, Shaq kept his opinions to himself. But after LeBron left, he finally spoke openly about why he believes Bronny should retire. Shaq reportedly said, "My son Sharif got drafted by Sacramento. You know how hard he worked. He made the team, couldn't stick, and he moved on. That's basketball. And I've got to sit here and watch a second-round pick averaging 2.9 points a game get a guaranteed NBA contract just like that. I love LeBron. I really do. But man, retire the kid. Let him live his life." That statement was incredibly harsh, but many people understand where he was coming from. Sharif battled through major heart surgery and still fought for every opportunity before earning only a brief chance with Sacramento, eventually being waived when he couldn't secure a roster spot. That is how the NBA usually works. But the story does not end there. One of the greatest players in Lakers history tried his best to stay diplomatic on television, yet ended up delivering one of the most unintentionally brutal backhanded compliments imaginable. James Worthy is Lakers royalty and remains closely connected to the organization, so he is usually careful when discussing the team's players. However, back in April, just before the playoffs, he struggled to find anything positive to say about Bronny during the post-game show. In one of the few games where Bronny played significant minutes, he logged 21 minutes and finished with 10 points, which stood out because it was easily one of his better performances across 42 appearances over 2 seasons. When Worthy was asked to evaluate Bronny's development, he replied, "Bronny, he's making progress. It's not always noticeable because he's not getting the minutes, but he's starting to understand his space on the floor." That response left many people wondering the same thing. Are we really calling invisible progress a success? So, according to that logic, he is getting paid millions of dollars to make progress that nobody can actually see. That is a tough argument to sell. Worthy was on live television doing Olympic-level mental gymnastics, trying to protect Bronny while avoiding criticism of the organization. He even came up with the idea of invisible development, just to put a positive spin on the situation. As amusing as Worthy's careful approach was, it was nothing compared to Kevin Garnett. KG went from being Bronny's biggest supporter to suggesting that he either step away or return to the G League. Back in May 2024, before the NBA draft, KG appeared on his podcast with Paul Pierce and passionately argued that Bronny was destined for greatness, even declaring that greatness ran through his veins. The internet immediately pushed back, with many fans questioning why a college player who averaged just 5 points at USC was being talked about like the next Kevin Durant. The reaction became so intense that some people even joked LeBron must have been paying KG to promote the family narrative. But everything changed once LeBron announced he was leaving the Lakers. Suddenly, KG stopped talking about greatness and instead suggested that LeBron should return to the Cleveland Cavaliers because it would create more opportunities for Bronny to develop. That shift in perspective caught plenty of attention, especially considering how KG earned his own place in the NBA. At just 17 years old, Garnett stepped onto the court with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen during a legendary pickup game and completely held his own. Isaiah Thomas watched the entire performance and reportedly pointed at him, saying, "Boy, you can play in the league right now." That is how true superstars announce themselves. KG earned respect by competing against established legends without a famous father, special treatment, or front office favors. Yet the criticism kept coming, and before long, KG changed his position. On his show the following week, he admitted, "Okay, look. I said what I said before the draft, and I really believed it at the time. But Bronny has had 2 years in the NBA, and we're still waiting for everything to click." Now that even some of Bronny's strongest public supporters have begun questioning the situation, it feels like there is very little left to defend. But the conversation does not end there, because Ray Allen also had something to say. And when it comes to shooting, Ray Allen is as demanding as anyone the game has ever seen. Ray Allen is famously obsessive when it comes to shooting mechanics, so watching Bronny's inconsistent jump shot probably would not impress someone with his standards. Ray built his entire career on relentless repetition and attention to detail. He was known for arriving at the arena hours before tip-off, carefully working through every detail of his footwork until his release became second nature. So when people try to hype up a player shooting 37.4% from the field and 34.8% from three, it is easy to understand why someone with Ray's mindset would remain skeptical. Even scouting reports described Bronny as an undersized, non-shooting guard, a label that raised concerns about whether his offensive game was NBA ready. And the 3-and-D label has also drawn criticism because a player is expected to consistently provide both perimeter shooting and defense, something many critics believe has not been evident so far. According to reports from people familiar with Ray's perspective, he did not hold back, reportedly saying, "Someone showed me a highlight of this kid, and all I will say is if the team wants to survive, retire him. Let him go find another way to shine. The NBA is not the place." In other words, He believed Bronny was becoming a liability rather than an asset. The next NBA legend to weigh in reportedly focused less on basketball and more on the mental side of the situation. Isaiah Thomas has long been respected for identifying talent. He famously watched a 17-year-old Kevin Garnett compete against Michael Jordan and immediately recognized he was ready for the NBA. Thomas also played a major role in shaping the early Toronto Raptors organization and has praised LeBron James as one of the greatest examples of the jump from high school to the professional level. So when he looked at Bronny's struggles, his advice reportedly centered on personal happiness rather than statistics. He was quoted as saying, "Retire, play golf, find something that brings you the same joy basketball brings your father. Because that joy, whatever he has for this game, it's his job to pass it to you. And right now, the game is not giving it back." When someone with Isaiah Thomas's reputation offers advice like that, it naturally adds another layer to the conversation. Now the debate shifts to the fans. Do you think Bronny should retire, or can he still turn his career around? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe because we'll be covering every major Lakers move as soon as it happens.